Confrontational writing, it actually is necessary because without it, we don't get anywhere. Our voices are never heard. They're drowned out by what you would call the white gaze, in a sense. Usually what ends up happening is that when Black people have something to voice, an opinion to voice, or some sort of injustice happens to us, usually we'll voice our opinion, we'll riot, we'll go out and do everything, but then nothing is done, nothing is changed. But then until that white person who becomes an ally, once that person speaks out, now all of a sudden it's an issue. Now everyone is paying attention. So when I come in, when I do confrontational writing, it's more along the lines of like, no, you are going to hear my voice, and this is what you're going to listen to, because this is what needs to be heard from actual Black people. We don't need it said by a white person. What we want to do is be recognized and have our voices recognized. So the more you're confrontational about it, the less you're turn the other cheek. You know, what a lot of the allyship, because that's, you know, what they like to do is quote Martin Luther King. He turned the other cheek. He was promoting nonviolence. I was like, no. That's the Martin Luther King that y'all know. Because there came a point in time when he saw that the nonviolence wasn't working anymore. And now it's like, well, you know what? We coming to get what we came for. And that's that. But yes, everybody always wants us to turn the other cheek. Everybody wants us to be the less aggressive. Everybody wants us, the dangerous ones, to not have a voice or to simmer down or to not be so confrontational. No, it's a new day. Now, there was a man, if you look this up in history, called John Brown. John Brown was a white man who fought against slavery. And when I say fought against slavery, I mean he killed his own, massacred his own people, white people, slave owners. And he did it all to free slaves, right? He's okay though. Everyone speaks about John Brown and some glorious, either if you were a suffragist or if you were some sort of Southerner or Confederate, then you either hate John Brown or you love him. He always has that, he doesn't have it in between. You either hate him or you love him. Now for us though, well, Martin Luther King was always nonviolence, but you don't hear nobody talking about Malcolm X. Why? Because Malcolm X was on some by any means necessary. And when it comes to any means necessary, meaning if I have to take your life to assure that mine and my family is okay, then I will do that. And that's what by any means necessary means. But notice how in media and in literature and everything, they always try to point you towards the docile Negroes, the acceptable Negroes. So where in school you'll learn about Langston Hughes way faster than you'll learn about James Baldwin. Because James Baldwin was very vocal about being Black and about exposing the white gaze and exposing white supremacy in the writing genre in itself. Whereas Langston Hughes was okay. He did it in a passive way. James Baldwin was in your face. Langston Hughes was quiet and poetic. That's what they want. They want the docile Negro, the passive Negro. They want us to chuck and jive and smile along and, hey, how you doing? It's like, you know, when you go to Dominican Republic, you know, it's now become a tourist area, tourist attraction for Europeans. When you actually go to the resorts, you don't see our people enjoying the luxuries that they afforded to whoever's going there. And usually it's 9 times out of 10 it's Europeans. So when I see that and I go to the resorts and I visit my resorts because I want to take care of my people, I want to give back to my country. So when I go there, they look at me as an outsider as in, well, why are you here? Now for me, that goes to show that how indoctrinated we have become, where the European way is the way that we have to follow, where we have to look at as white supremacy is our superior, whereas we have to look at, you know, our Blackness is inferior. And it's been written in history over and over and over where Blackness is inferior. So when it comes back, and I'm gonna bring it back to the confrontational writing, we're getting erased from history. You are now having people saying that they are oppressed and that they're being erased from history. I'm like, no, honey, that's not how it works. I was like, you have to understand, not for nothing, but white people have always been the minority. But they have made it so, they made it look like we are actually the minority, and that's not how it is. They are actually the minority, because if you actually even go into DNA and going back into your genes and how far back we want to go back to the first human, well, the first human actually was born in Africa. So when you're born in Africa, you can't tell me I'm from here, but no, over time, yes, over time and evolution and things happen, migration, yes. Your melanin fades, things change, things happen. Yes, we get that. We get different phenotypes because your body adapts. So this is all science. But we break it down into, race is a social construct in and of itself. But we break it down, whereas our phenotype, we are the originators. And for some reason, somewhere along the lines in history, we have become the inferior. We've been erased from our own culture, from our own history. We have been constantly, and we continue to be erased from our own culture and from our own history. Every single time that we have something that's been out for years and centuries, once white people discover it, this is brand new, look at this. And what was it the other day? I think I saw, it was something very ridiculous. I think it was like girls learn how to do a tubi. I'm like, Latinas, Dominicans have been doing tubis since the beginning of time. But now it's a style. It's a brand new style. It's a rap. No, it's a tubi. Let it go. Like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff that we're embarrassed to wear out in public. Now it's a fashion statement. It's like, no, that's not what we do it for. Oh, what was it? The Kim Kardashian boxer braids. They're not boxer braids, honey. Those are cornrows. And we've been doing them since the beginning of time. So, but this is what I'm talking about. We're constantly erased. If it's not being discovered by the white gaze, it just doesn't exist. And we have to write ourselves back into this existence. They want to erase us, we have to write ourselves back in. Like, no. You're not going to take me out of this. They're even changing our history books, where they're saying that the Native Americans that were here, I think it was a history book in Texas, that they're changing the words, saying the Pilgrims came and that the Indians gave them the land and they shared. And no, don't teach your kids the lies. I'm sorry. I teach my children the truth. No, Europeans came here because they were escaping persecution from their own people. They decided to come here, and then guess what? Do the same exact thing that they were being persecuted for in their own hometown to the indigenous people that were here. My children know who Christopher Columbus really is. My children know who the Native Americans are and what Pilgrims did when they came here. So yes, we have to write ourselves back into history. They want to erase us, we have to write ourselves back in.